Okay, so I'm going to do an example from the homework, so that way you guys can see what we're doing, or if you were absent, you can actually look it up. So one of the first page, first problem, we have 54% of 150. So what I'm telling you, or what I'm asking you to do, is tell me what 54% of 150 is. So, as you recall, step 1 is to take the percent and turn it into a decimal. And step 2 is to take the decimal that we got from here and multiply it by the total of whatever we are talking about. In this case, our percent would be the 54%, and our total would be 150. So we're going to go ahead and do this. So, like I said, step 1 is to turn percent to decimal. So what percentage am I working with? Well, I have 54% of 150. I only have 1% sign, so I know that I'm working with 54%. Because I want to turn this into a decimal, I have to divide it. But how do I know what to divide it by? Well, whenever we're talking about percentage, a whole is 100. So in this step, we're going to put 100 under here. Just as a reminder, this line means to divide. So in my calculator, I am going to put 54 divided by 100. We read it from top to bottom. 54 divided by 100. When I do the math, I get 0.54 or 54 hundredths. Now, I cannot get rid of this decimal. It is part of the number. Step 2 is to take the decimal and multiply it by the total of whatever we are talking about. So, in that case, our decimal, as you recall from step 1, is 0.54. So I'm going to take 0.54 and I'm going to multiply it by the total. In this case, I only have 2 numbers I'm working with. Well, I already took care of the 54. I turned the 54% into a decimal. So I now only have to work with 150. So I know I'm going to multiply 0.54 times 150. When I put that into my calculator, reminder, we do 0. We can't get rid of the point, 54 times 100 equals 54 whoops, sorry, I made a mistake. 0.54 times 150, 150, equals 81.00, or just 81. And I got my answer. So 54% of 150 is 81. We can go ahead and do another one, just so that way you have 2 examples. The next one says 37% of 300. So step 1, we're going to turn our percent into a decimal. So our percentage we're working with is 37%. So I'm going to write 37. And because I'm trying to turn it into a decimal, I have to divide it by 100 because 100 is a whole. As a reminder, this line right here means to divide. So in my calculator, I'm going to put 37 divided by 100. We read it from top to bottom. 37 divided by 100. And that equals 0.37. Step 2, I take the decimal that I just got, which is 0.37, And I'm going to multiply it by the total of whatever we are talking about. In this case, it is 300. Reminder, we cannot get rid of the decimal. It is part of the number. So I'm going to take my calculator and I'm going to do 0.37 times 300 equals, and it equals 111. So 37% of 300 is 111.